Ike Eastman here, and today we're going to go on a hunt with Steve Hornady, and he's going to explain a little bit about the technologies that Hornady developed for this new bullet. What's the new technology behind the new bullet?
Well, there's two things that are going on here, and the one is we're calling this a heat shield tip.
Okay.
And the reason that we're calling it that is this is an extremely high melt plastic, very high. And what we've discovered is that the polymer tips that we use and everybody uses begin to melt when they're going through the air. It changes the ballistic performance of the bullet as it goes downrange. And we decided we want to correct that, so using Doppler radar, we're able to track the flight of that bullet and the velocity of that bullet every instant of its trip, from the muzzle till it hits the ground. And we were able to see in that flight where that plastic began to change the performance of the bullet. Going to the heat shield tip, now you can prevent that from occurring basically all the way out to till it hits the ground, 1,700, 1,800 yards.
So the plastic tip maintains its integrity.
Exactly. The other thing that we did with that is we've designed, this is called an ELD-X. It's a heavy for caliber. This is a 200 grain bullet. And 30 caliber, that's, kind of uncommon at this point in time. Has an extremely efficient ballistic shape, ogive. It is a boat tail bullet, and we've been able to really raise the coefficient of drag on this bullet substantially. And I say that very specifically that way because what's happened with the Doppler radar, instead of creating a ballistic coefficient, which is a number that is then plugged into a formula, and you use the formula to predict the ballistic behavior, with a drag coefficient and the Doppler radar, we're not trying to calculate the performance, we're documenting the performance over its entire range, and we know what that coefficient of drag is, so now we can give you the precise trajectory over whatever range that you're picking.
Does each bullet change slightly?
Yes.
It has to, because it's not perfect.
You want to know what else happens? The rifling engraving changes the ballistic efficiency of a bullet as well, because there's drag coming off of those grooves. The shallower the grooves, the less drag there is on the bullet, the more efficient the bullet is going down range, and we can predict. The bad thing about that is that then your actual ballistic performance of a bullet is actually gun specific.
Oh yeah.
Now, for the vast majority of hunters, that's not going to matter that much. They're still going to be close enough. When you start getting into military and law enforcement snipers, where they've got a very, very precise window that they're trying to reach, then it's going to matter. But they can track it. You can figure it out.
Right.
And what you're going to see in our literature eventually is you will see ballistic coefficient go away and drag coefficient come in, because it is actually the coefficient of drag that makes the difference. And you can use that drag coefficient then to precisely map the trajectory.
That's very interesting. Maybe we'll test this on a live animal.
That's what you got to do.